of the people. Sahara cover my seas. Sahara.
Men and hopefully women who will decide if any money earned by Nigeria in the next 4 years will be served for the generation unborn are being elected across Nigeria. Also, men and hopefully women who will impeach those men are also being elected today across Nigeria. I'm talking about the State House of Assembly elections. So all across Nigeria, there are local elections going on. And at this point, people have started voting across the country. We are getting reports that armed men are snatching election materials, which is not something new. We're also getting reports that reporters have been harassed by military men. We have an incident involving Channels TV reporter and another one with Premium Times reporter. These are not something new. We're also getting reports that card readers across several parts of the country are not functioning well. In fact, I think the reports are saying that so far it's actually worse than what happened at the presidential elections 2 weeks ago. We have put together, again, we're bringing you the best teams of our analysts and correspondents and people to help us understand what is going on. So on my immediate left, I have Kwesi Baako. Kwesi, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you, Rudolf.
And at the other end, you have Olu, Humble Prince. Welcome to SaharaTV.
Rudolf, thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
So let me start with you, Kwesi. Why is today important to Nigerian voters?
Thank you, Rudolf, once again. I think today is extremely important to Nigerians and to Nigerian democracy because Nigeria is a federal system. So electing a president is just one half of the job done. The president works with the Senate and, the governors and all of that. So today is extremely important because it's the continuation of that democratic process that was started several weeks ago. Today is also important because let me take it, party by party. It's really important for the APC because they would like to seal the deal, I should say. They would like to go out and, endorse the victory that they already attained in the presidentials and, govern Nigeria with a strong enough base. It's also important for the PDP because they would like to reclaim some of the territory that they've lost, I'm not talking geographical territory, I'm talking in terms of political leverage. And yeah, so that also goes to count. The PDP would like to get some of that glory that they've lost back and all of that. So I think today is extremely important. Most of all, it's important for the Nigerian people because it is a continuation of the democratic process that we started a few weeks ago.
Okay. Although this is a local election by all accounts, things that will impact the decision of voters are things that are local. Is this voters cued into this? I mean, is this what is pushing them from what and when they go out to vote? What are their concerns?
Well, I want to say, first of all, that the presidential election is very, very important, but, we cannot dismiss the gubernatorial elections because those are very important, too. Like, just to hop on what Kwesi said, I mean, they, at the government level, they allocate federal revenue. They make a lot of policies. And I think in some ways, everybody from each state, the citizens from each state kind of feel closer to the candidate. So this is very important for them. So I think that, it's just unfortunate from what I've been reading. It seems like the voter turnout is low compared to the presidential one. But I think, people should still come out and vote. So let's not just dismiss the gubernatorial election. It's a very, very important election, and it's very, very important for the country. Yeah.
Now, Kwesi, one of the 10 states or 13 states that we're actually watching very well is River State. Already we are getting reports of ballots, papers being snatched and shooting in the state. Reporters at the First Lady's hometown of Okonkwo are facing intimidation. What is at stake in Okonkwo and by extension River State in this election?
Rudolf, River State is held by what used to be the opposition. I mean, the incoming APC is now the government. But currently, before swearing in day, it's still the opposition.
Yeah.
So River State is held by the opposition, same as Lagos. And River State is a strong economic power base. So any astute government would like to have their feet firmly planted in the areas where you have, such, immense amounts of resource coming from, same as Lagos. But most importantly, I think it's because it's in the hands of the APC. The PDP would like to kind of stage a coup d'etat, to claim these places, to make a statement. People have suggested that the PDP is actually on the verge of sinking. To win Lagos and River State would kind of bring home the idea that no, we're not sinking, we're still here, we're ready to be a viable opposition. Also, River State, for instance, Okrika, right? That's where Patience Jonathan comes from, First Lady. What would it look like if the PDP lost in, the First Lady's hometown?
And also the candidate for the PDP is the godson of the First Lady.
See,
so
even more imperative for them to win.
Stake, yeah.
But that makes it like a really tight race for these two parties both to stake their claim over there.
All right, Olu, in Lagos State, that's another state that we're watching closely.
Yes.
What is at stake?
Well, let's just say that Lagos is a very, very what's the word? I'm trying to look for the right word, but what is at stake? First of all, I think the APC would like Lagos to win. I mean, they want Lagos to get the APC so they can kind of match, the presidential election to win that. So it's going to be a very tight race, especially in lieu of recent events, especially with about coming out, and uttering those words and everything. So I really think it's going to be a tight race between the PDP is also going to try to put up a good fight because, they still feel like if they win Lagos, which is a very, very prominent state in Nigeria that we all know about, I think they feel like at least they had some victory losing in the presidential election. So it's going to be a tight race, very, very tight race.
Can I also add quickly, Rudolf, that I've read in opinion pieces and stuff like that certain governors would like to have people that they choose replace them. That's obviously evident from the Oba's comments and all of that, for instance. So River State being held by Amechi, who is very vocal in the APC and almost like one of the people that the PDP would really want to unseat, or even if he's going out, they want to make sure that his chosen candidate does not replace, doesn't replace him kind of thing. All these add up to the importance of these key areas.
Yeah. I also want to say that, the Oba's comments, inflammatory comments, also shows what's at stake in Lagos for him to just come out and, and I really honestly think, the royal and all the monarchy should just stay out of politics like the way it used to be.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about the Oba because we haven't seen any sign in terms of the turnout in Lagos State that people are being driven to go to the poll one way or the other, as a result of what the Oba said.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that it has calmed down? That the impact of that statement he made, that it calmed down in the minds of voters?
I think so, honestly. I don't want to say it was blown out of proportion to begin with, but I think, this is just an Oba, he was trying to just make his weight felt and, make his presence felt. I thought those comments were totally uncalled for, but, I'm glad that voters are seeing past that and are actually, voting based on issues and not, just going by what the Oba said. Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything to say about it?
I would like to quickly add to that. I've heard, people of, good repute defending what the Oba said. I shudder to enter too much into the politics of that because I do not claim to wield the knowledge of how the system works over there. However, I would like to say that this is a clear clash between tradition and a new system of governance that we have decided as Africans to impose on ourselves, so to speak. Democracy has no room so to speak, for the traditional leaders. It's a very, very, very dicey area. I'd go to the example in Ghana again. Ghana legislated that chiefs, traditional leaders, are supposed to stay out of politics, period. And there was good reason for this kind of legislation, because there are certain areas in Ghana where if the chief says, vote this party, it's one block. I believe it's the same in Nigeria. The chiefs have, that kind of power where they can actually steer, opinion pertaining to the vote. Now, have we legislated on this area at all? Do we have areas where the Oba can go, where he cannot go, where he can, come out and say, I want my candidate freely and have no repercussions? Is that good for the democracy that we're trying to develop? We really need to look at these issues, because to me, the issue is really not what he said. Because I've heard diverse opinions, like I said before. People are saying he was just expressing his opinion. He's an individual, aside the fact that he's an Oba. He has the free will to state his case. But being that he's also a figurehead, is it really good for the democracy that we want to practice? I think we should really think about that.
Can I say this? But I think as a citizen, he's allowed to campaign for whoever he wants to campaign for, but it's just the way he did it. His comments were inflammatory. You don't make threats and tell somebody that if you don't vote for somebody, you're gonna go jump in the lagoon. So some people had a problem with that.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's not. Right. He did not say just vote for this person or the other person. He's saying that if you don't, you end up in the lagoon. So
end up in the lagoon. I've heard some people saying it was figurative. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
and that's why I started by saying I don't know if I'm qualified to, navigate
Nobody
that
appears
terrain.
to be qualified. It's not just.
But let's just also say though, he kind of degenerated a certain group of people from a different tribe, the Igbos. So they had a
well, that brings up my point. That's right. That's why I'm suggesting that there should be clear legislation so that in future, for instance, if the Oba commits some kind of, just speaking, just saying, if the Oba or any other traditional leader commits some kind of crime, what kind of procedure do they have for him? Does he have any kind of immunity, for instance? We should look at all these things. Yeah. We should spell it out in the Constitution so that in future, the Obas and the traditional leaders and whoever knows where the boundaries are. Yeah. I think we need that.
I think Obas have committed worse atrocities, and it's just unfortunate that a lot of people feel like, even the Obas themselves feel like they're beyond reproach. That's why when they told him to apologize, he said he wasn't going to take back what he said, and and most of them feel like if they apologize, it's an admission of guilt, and what he said
tradition
was wrong.
Again. Yeah. Tradition at play. Rudolf, sorry to just barge in again, but just one quick.
Come on, but having
a friends. Yeah. But I was also suggesting that. I was saying, actually, I was observing rather than suggesting that in Ghana, for instance, the traditional leaders speak through linguists. Okay, you have a linguist who articulates what you say. That gives a buffer for the chief to make mistakes and still be okay in the eyes of the people, rather than say the Oba doesn't take back what he says. If this had happened in Ghana, for instance, and I'm not saying it's any better than what's happening in Nigeria, I'm just saying it's another system which we could look at. The Oba could have said, that was my linguist's mistake. And the linguist, it's his job to suck up, all the negative stuff that the chief would so the chief can say, dumb stuff, and then blame it on the linguist, because it's actually the linguist who projects it to the people, so that if any mistake comes, they can easily push it on the linguist, and the Oba will still, maintain his...
Yeah, but one thing I'm glad for is that, I think this is... been swept under the rug. It's passed. The voters. Let's just focus on the gubernatorial election. And
but it's also what we determine whether it's been swept off or on is when the results come in.
Right.
Because if it goes the other way, if PDP should win, it will come back to be an issue, because the fear is not about whether the Oba was joking or not. It's about how people are going to interpret what he said.
Right. Yeah.
There are some people who might feel
and
that
how convincing and how he might have swayed the votes.
This is that the Oba. Some people are saying openly that the Oba is right, that Igbo people should vote for the person that the Oba wants to them to vote for, and then there are people who might think that they can take action if that doesn't happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. His comments and his actions just go far way beyond just telling people to vote. There are a lot of tribalistic messages in there, like saying, what does he mean by saying that, we allowed the Igbos to stay here? we're all citizens of Nigeria. Not just.
No, we are going to talk about that in the course of not now in other panels, because we want to look into that. And what does that mean to be a citizen? Do you have to? Do you have the right to decide who you want to vote for?
Yes.
Do you feel that you owe the people who originally are from one particular place gratitude for being there?
Right.
When you are also a Nigerian. So that's another discussion.
Right. Thank you.
Let's talk about INEC now, because also INEC is they're on trial today again. Even though they are giving credit for the presidential election, this one is also very important.
Yes.
So for our viewers who may not know, the governors are very powerful when they go to the Council of State meetings. Yeah. That's where they decide how to spend the money of the country. And
they also set a lot of policies.
A lot of what went wrong under Jonathan were actually driven by the governors. If you talk to someone like the Minister for Finance, she made comments about her hands being tied when the governors decide that we want this money spent, shared. There's a formula with which they share money in Nigeria when they go to those meetings. Some part of the money will go to the federal government, some will go to the state, some will go to the local government. So if the governors team up and say we want this money shared, even if the federal government is saying we want to keep the money for the next generation, the governors have power to say this is what we want. So this is very important.
What's the use of the Senate then?
Well, the money, they're
like
different. They're different levels and how they decide things. For instance, what they call the sovereign wealth. The governors, they have a lot to say in terms of what should be money coming from because it's from federal accounts. They decide which part of that money should go to the state, which part should. So they have a lot of say in what goes on. So that's why this election is fun. But INEC, let's go to INEC. What did you, so far now we're seeing that there are repeats of some of the problems we saw at the presidential poll. They are repeating, and in some cases worse than they were in the last election. What do you think INEC should be concerned about today?
Rudolf, we had an interview we have a pre-recorded interview, which I believe will play very soon with Kayode Idowu, and he did assure us that INEC was more prepared than they were for the presidentials. So I myself, I'm a bit taken aback by all these reports that we are receiving, especially the one with the card reader, because he pointed to a particular mistake which caused a lot of the problems from the presidential election, being that the machine that they were using is telco based. So I think there are telcos which have been assigned to activating them or something to that effect, and people did not know. So it was some kind of a hassle for them. But he assured us that this has been fixed, and also that some people complained about the poor quality of training of INEC officials, people who are on the ground making sure that the vote went through properly. He also said that this has also been taken care of, that more education has come in, people who were not that committed have been yanked out, and all of this. However, we're receiving all these reports, including, unfortunately, ballot snatching, which we didn't even hear about in the presidential. It makes me ask myself, is the governorship more important than the presidential? For instance, are people more aggressive to become governors than they are to become president?
No. For the presidency, you have two people running essentially. There are other people, but two major ones. But the governorship election we have in the 32 states, you have at least 64 major candidates. So there are a lot of people who want those.
And it's also localized. So it's more easy to have a situation going on in one particular area, which makes it universally difficult for INEC to control, rather than, when it's federal, and then INEC can actually have that, use that mechanism that's already on the ground. So I think this is what's happening, but it's unfortunate. We really want to see a clean gubernatorial elections to reflect what we had in the presidential, and then we'll all be very happy.
All right.
Yeah,
We are essentially out of time, but
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
go ahead.
INEC aside, though, I'm concerned about security because, like you said, we've heard about reports about, hoodlums attacking different
Polling booths.
polling booths and polling sites. So, the same security that was afforded during the presidential election, I think should be afforded even more to the gubernatorial election. And also, I just want to say that we want to encourage people to release their exit polls like they did for the presidential election, because I think that will help keep INEC in check. Because I think, rigging is, like you said, because there are a lot of candidates to vote for and everything. I think rigging is kind of easier at the this election. So we really need the citizens to do what they did during the presidential election. That way we could keep INEC in check and make sure all the results are valid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kwesi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rudolf.
Olu, thank you so
Rudolf,
much.
thank you so much. Great.
When we come back, we are going to talk to people who are right there in the field, who are monitoring this. We are going to talk to reporters, analysts. We'll be here for a long time, so stay tuned and keep watching.